and welcome to the Henshin Hangout. My name is Mark and I'm here to bring you all Super Sentai news as well as Donbrothers reviews. We've got quite a few to go through and some new stuff that's been out as well as some old stuff. But let's jump straight into it. So let's kind of go over some small things right now with merchandise. I don't know if I have mentioned this, but we have the Airfly Sunglasses, which has been released or is coming out. It's quite expensive, but we know that there's Donbrothers sunglasses, so obviously you definitely need this. I think these are really, really cool. If they were prescription sunglasses, I would go all for them kind of straight away. The next thing we have is the Ninjak sword, which is basically from, I think his name is the Matsume bad guy that's popped up quite recently, who is in it a few episodes. But you can now pick up his sword, which I kind of like the look of. But as you're seeing on screen right now, he has multiple things that you can say that obviously you're going to hear maybe his mother talk to you, because why not? It seems to be a really cool thing to have. But obviously this is going to be quite new and I'm kind of excited. I kind of want to pick them all up. But now knowing that we're getting memorial gear all the time, am I going to wait or should I go for this? I have no idea. But either way, it's pretty cool. It comes with 3 different gears from different sharks, which I'm kind of happy. So one I think is from Sun Vulcan, one is from Wild Vorse or Gao Ranger, and then one is from Zooja. Basically, you can combine it, put it on the Don Blaster to get extra sounds if you need to, which I'm kind of looking forward to. Now moving on to the last thing that you can buy right now is we have the Memorial Gretozinger or Geertzinger. It's basically Stacy's weapon, which I think looks kind of cool. I've seen a lot of people kind of talk about it saying like, oh, they wouldn't get it, and that's absolutely fine. For me, I kind of want this, but now at the moment, since I can't get a hold of the Gatlinger, the memorial version, I think I may skip this. So basically this is exactly like the DX version that we've have. It comes with a few extra gears, but nothing to write home about. The only thing I quite like is as you can see it on screen, I kind of like the gear where monsters step on it and then they transform. I've kind of always liked that, and I don't know why they've never brought it out. But this is pretty much to this show. For Stacy, apparently the barrel of the gun doesn't roll, so that's a big thing. I kind of thought they would do, but obviously this kind of keeps on from the show from what I remember. You get some normal gears, especially the dark ones, everything that came with the DX version, but I think you get the extra Juren and Gowon kind of gears for it. But this is a pricey set, but again, this is out in March. Now, if you're like me that missed out on the Gatlinger and you want this, then I would pick this up quite quickly before it kind of disappears. But that's the main thing that you can buy from Super Sentai right now. But moving on, we have some new scans of the Megazords coming up quite soon, as well as if you want to buy them, see what they're like. So I saw this from Wene, who I've actually previously covered on my channel over at Heirloom. Go check me out if you want this or like what you're seeing so far. We also see right now on screen that the Don Onitaijin can combine later on, which I'm guessing is going to be a really kind of unique little thing, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So seeing these sorts of scans, I'm kind of impressed with it. Now, I love mecha, so I'm definitely going to be picking some of this up. But it shows the combination of the Donbrothers combined with obviously Don Momotaro and his stuff, which looks really, really cool. I can't wait to see how it's going to combine, how it's going to work out, and especially since it shows you at the very top of this picture, how can I do it? What is going to happen? Combine these two and you can have it. So this is coming out by the time this is finished, if you're watching it in the future, but around about the 27th of August, this is going to be dropping for the Robos, so you can combine them. And if you want to have a go at it, feel free. Post it in, well, you can't post it in the comments, but post it on the Facebook pages and tag me. Send it on Twitter. This also does show, obviously, it is a power-up, which we have that has been kind of teased in the past. So for me seeing this, I'm like, do you know what? I kind of like it. I like the fact that we have a different version of, I'd say, the sunglasses, which kind of reminds me of how it is going to be a power-up. And we've had some stuff coming up mainly for what is going to be the power-ups for obviously Don Momotaro and the others as well. Now jumping over to Rangerboard on Twitter, they posted something a while ago around July 24th, 2022, which is talking about more toys coming out in the fourth quarter of the leak. So it says here, Donbrothers fourth quarter spoilers via Toy Leaker. The powered up item for Donbrothers is a golden bird, perhaps on the base of the Grimm fairy tale, and has a threefold functionality. When it's slid onto the top of the Don Blaster, it gives the Don Momotaro and the Senpaija golden armor. The Senpaija gets the chest and shoulder armor, and Don Momotaro has the same as them. It can be broken into various pieces and attached to the Don Onitaijin to create a powered up form of the Robo. It can combine with the Don Onitaijin and the Toradora Gojin to form what is likely Donbrothers' strongest Robo. In powered up mode, the Don Momotaro sunglasses become golden and shiny. With all of this, I'm guessing the sunglasses is going to look like what it's going to be on the Robo, which you can see right here, right now. And there we go. There is all the Sentai news that has been popping about for the past couple of weeks, kind of condensed for you, all right there. Now, let's jump into the episode. We're going to be jumping in at episode 19. And I have to say, since getting this thing and listening to the entire load of different things, all I can hear is the Don Momotaro thing. First of all, the episode. I think episode 19 has got to be one of the sadder episodes and had an emotional tug at my heartstrings, which I kind of like. I like it when Sentai or programs do this. This kind of makes it a little bit better. Now, kind of breaking this down because you've probably already seen it. So, this is about a ghost girl. It's all about a ghost girl who has basically died and wanted to meet her lover, but unfortunately she died before meeting him, and thus therefore has been waiting around for, I think, around about 50 years, waiting for his phone call, and won't let anyone take down the phone booth. We find out that in Japan, as pretty much most of the world that you'll see, phone booths have been a big thing, but now obviously with technology moving on forward, we don't kind of really need them that much, and they've been decommissioned all the way through. Haruka's mum is talking about the good old days of phone booths and how that all works, and obviously Haruka's been taken away, and obviously they're going to go fight. The monster they're fighting is obviously the ghost, who we're going to find out her name in a little bit, but no one can attack her because obviously she's a ghost. But yeah, I would kind of thought that the same thing would happen, that the ghost wouldn't be able to hurt them, but obviously no. It's Sentai logic. So obviously the fight carries on, but as soon as the phone repairmen and all that disappear, the monster goes back into the phone booth. This is where we meet the ghost, the girl who has basically been waiting for a while. Minako is the ghost girl that we see. She's beyond happy that Haruka can actually see her, and she obviously tells her way too much about what her blood type is, as well as a few other things, and basically the story happens. I did actually kind of really like the fact that Haruka just disappears. She's like, see you later, because she gets a bit kind of weirded out by it. But I kind of thought, you know what, this is a little bit funny, and I kind of like the humor in Donbrothers quite a bit. Now, one thing in this apartment, when Haruka goes back and, you know, her mum's kind of talking about a few things, is they have a shot glass thing. For some strange reason, shots are just on the wall, and I'm like, why would you have that? That seems a bit weird. All right, bit weird, but okay. Haruka turns around to the others in the cafe and says, Mimiko is actually there and is kind of, you have to believe her or you have to hold your breath or some way. But I love Pink's like kind of expression where he's just literally just jumps out of his skin. Because he can see Minako right there, and I'm just like, okay, a little bit weird, but kind of you see it. Now with Blue's reaction to this as well, I'm very kind of like, oh, I kind of like Pink's one a bit more. But with Minako back in the back 50 years ago, she kind of is done on how looks are. She loves how boys look, so therefore the more handsome boy the better. So they all kind of talk and agree to kind of give her what she wants, which is a date. So they all pretty much go on a date. It's kind of funny. Momotaro basically is just saying, hey, let's walk this really quickly, and then takes her skydiving. But then I don't get it if literally she can't be touched because obviously she's a ghost. How is he flying around with her? We have Black, who basically turns into the dog because Mimiko loves dogs. So therefore he's like, hey, look at this magic trick. Boom, straight away. Kaito is the only one who decides that he's going to get dressed up, comes up on this like motorbike, but then all of a sudden everyone rushes to him because I think they all think he's a supermodel. And I was like, oh, okay, a little bit weird. It's a fun series. I like it so much. It just seems completely different, and I really do like this. We now jump to a scene with Minako, who actually is waiting for Shinzo's phone call, and Shinzo rings her and they actually have a conversation, and it's finding out what happened to Minako, which really did get me because I wasn't really expecting it to some degree, but I wasn't also kind of expecting Truck-kun to come straight out of nowhere and actually kill Minako, which I generally was a bit kind of like, huh. But I also am a bit confused on why no one like helped her or went back to see if she was okay. But obviously this is the entire episode. As they're having a conversation with Minako as Shinzo, they're basically talking about what's going on, how that they should move on, and how she should be free and be happy, and they're going to meet another day. We have the people that are from the city that are going to be taking away the phone booth, which again, I completely understand, but I also kind of weirded out that if you see the phone hanging on its own where there's nothing to kind of like make it look like it's hanging on its own, you kind of think you'd be a bit scared, or the fact that the others would drop in and actually kind of defend or say, hey, could you come back a little bit later or we'll help do this. So we get a massive fight after that, and everyone basically jumps in to kind of defeat the monster that is Minako, who has literally become an evil person right now because she's still having that phone call conversation. The Donbrothers cannot defeat the monster because, again, obviously a ghost power. So what happens? They have to kind of wait it out until everything has been kind of done and dusted. But while the others are fighting, we have Don Momotaro jumping straight in and actually fighting Mutsume, who, I think, no, it might be in another episode, but either way, it starts to kind of fight. But we see that Don Momotaro jumps up onto the ninja kind of ability that we saw previously, which isn't too bad, and we get kind of a decent fight, but not a long fight. So it's kind of on and off. Some really good camera work, as well as some good drone work, and that is pretty much the entire episode. Now on to episode 20, and this one was kind of quite quick, and it's very kind of weird. So Don Momotaro is kind of working out, he's at home, he's eating, he's doing stuff, but then his kind of on and off girlfriend Rumi decides to give him a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about coming to Tokyo, is that okay? Don Momotaro is turning around going like, hey, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then he asks the others if he can be the leader to show to Rumi that he is the hero of the group. But it doesn't kind of work that way, and Don Momotaro says, hey, I can't lie, so you're the leader, I quit, see you later, boy, and that's it. He's gone for a little bit, he's still in the episode, but with this, Kaito is turning around going, oh, I kind of don't like this, and he decides to keep an eye on everyone. Formerly known as Donbrothers, they are now the Dragon Fires, and that is it, and you get kind of a little thing where they're posing. Now, I would have loved the entire episode intro to be completely changed to, I think it would just be fun. I think it would have been absolutely fantastic to have this. But obviously we don't, and I was kind of a bit let down on it. Now we're kind of setting up for the film, which obviously will be out soon, and it'll be cut in at some point much later on into the timeline of the series. Now everyone starts training, everyone jumps into doing stuff, which wasn't too bad for me. I kind of liked it, it kind of was a little bit different. So we have them all training, running up the stairs, which they all look tired, and I'm like, yeah, because you're all in line, and if one person's slow, the other person's going to be slow, so therefore you're using up more energy and also going up one step at a time. Why not go up two? It's so much easier. So the Dragonfires now are saving people. They're saving people who are having a medical emergency in vans, I was going to say cars then, but then also fires and a few other things around. Because the name Dragonfires is going around everything right now, they're kind of getting a bit more fame. They're on TV, they're doing so much more. the fact that they've now been given an award, but Kaito doesn't like this. He's saying you shouldn't really be using your powers for kind of your personal gain. You know, you could change and everything could be different, and hence why it would be like the way of Pinocchio of growing the nose. And you kind of see this a lot more later on, where they're all going for this award and they decide to say, hey, I don't want this. Previously in this episode though, I'm really glad that we see Zenkaija Black. He's jumping in, he's helping Don Momotaro because no one else is. So when Kaito then relays this information back later and it's like, hey, you know, all the things that you've been doing, Don Momotaro has been doing this in the background, and he's the one that's been kind of picking things up, saving you and doing more to show you this lesson. As the others decide to leave because their Donblasters have kind of arrived, Don Momotaro doesn't like this whatsoever, and he starts freaking out, and because, as they call him, the feral version of himself is going around attacking. He doesn't like the fact that Don Momotaro is taking that spotlight. He doesn't like it. And I really don't like the fact that Don Momotaro turns into this and he's just like, I hate you. It feels like he's drunk. It just doesn't kind of work, and I don't like it. But I will give him a bit of credit in the next episode, which I'll explain. I'm kind of liking what's happened to him. But for now, they all take down the monster. And one thing, it's so weird in this, because I now imagine that on the streets of Japan, there are random guys at time just literally in workout gear, just ripping off their clothes and fighting. So the main monster of this episode wants to find strong opponents and yet goes after Don Momotaro and as well as the others. But he's attacking random people saying like, oh, you're the world's, or you're Japan's best kickboxer, fight me. And it's just like one punch and you're gone. I'm like, is that so? That's the reason why I just kind of think, well, what's going to happen in Japan? Does this actually happen? It's random guys just attacking each other randomly to show who is stronger. We get the debut of Don Momotaro in his White Ranger form, the Tiger mode, and yet it's quite fast at attacking, going straight on. The three Sonnies are also in this because Sonny from the previous episode or the episode before obviously saw Matsume and was just like, hey, this shouldn't happen. Sonny turns around and says to Matsume that he shouldn't be there whatsoever. You know, he's not part of it. I think he says he's a prisoner or something like that. So obviously a fight breaks out. Not for long though, because Sonny turns around and says, hey, we've got a film. Because previously, three of them were approached to be in a film, and that is pretty much it. Don Momotaro is like, hey, I don't like this. Kills the bad guy straight away because he wants to fight Don Momotaro, but obviously it doesn't happen, and he gets the gear that turns from Rear Soul Red to the Kiba Ranger. Yeah, Kiba Ranger, basically MMPR White. At the very end of the episode, Kaito takes the award and he has the Pinocchio nose, which I kind of found funny, and I think probably one of the best parts of this entire episode is when Haruka turns around and sees exactly what's on all display and she doesn't like it, and I absolutely love all her expressions. To be fair, she's one of my favorite characters in this. We're now on episode 21, and this is not a bad episode. I watched it in Raw first and got kind of the gist of it, but now watching it with subs was so much better to kind of listen and understand what's going on. So this entire episode is mainly a Blue episode where you focus on his character as well as the predecessor of who had Donbrothers Blue, which again was kind of a nice little touch to it. So Blue basically walks around and he saves these kids football, while you see some goons turn around and go, oh, we know who you are. So they've mistaken him for someone else to begin with, and they capture him, and they kind of, it looks like they're going to torture him, but obviously not. But they've also tied his arms up with ramen or noodles, which again is kind of, huh? It's a bit weird. So we find out that the person who had it previously before Blue turns up, saves him, and kind of explains what's been going on. Kind of in gist, we find out that there have been 5,000 people that have had the power of the Donbrothers, but never have come together as a team. So I'm very curious to see if anyone else is going to kind of turn up, or maybe Yellow turned up previously. I have no idea, but I think that was an alternative reality thing, or like basically whatever. I haven't seen that episode, but there have been 5,000 people that have had the power of the Donbrothers, but if you don't use it for good or saving it, basically it just disappears and you never have that entire power ever again, which I generally thought was an interesting one, because I would love to see, as I said, I would love to see these people, but also seeing that and hearing it, and then hearing what Haruka said at the very beginning, like there's never been any heroes. There has to be sightings at least. Now, I think the main big takeaway in this is Matsume, who fights obviously Don Momotaro, and what I said previously was what I was impressed with is the fact that he's still in this tiger mode. He's still pissed off. The fact is that he's not been able to fight Don and Momotaro, and we get our first alter change, which is in the form of the Abba Killer. Now, I will say the thing, I didn't notice it until it was pointed out, but his neck piece is white compared to what it is meant to be, which is black, which is very confusing because I don't think Sentai normally messes stuff up. But obviously they saw this one and thought, let's keep it white for some strange reason. Maybe they're kind of focusing in on the fact that Ninja Steel had white, and it's like, hey, maybe we need to copy that one. So the successor of Blue tells to Blue, hey, guess what? I used my powers for bad. I used it for personal gain. And you kind of see what happens from the feats of strength, using it to carry girls to different locations, as well as to kind of like cut lines. And thus, therefore, he kind of says like, oh, I missed the power, blah, blah, blah. It's not bad. I just generally think that you could have come up with some more creative ways for losing the power. But, you know, this has to be set within a certain perimeter. So now we have Sonjay. I can't remember the third guy's name, but he goes and kidnaps Haruka because he's been reading the manga that she's written all the way through. And obviously he doesn't know that she is Oni's sister. So I was like, I kind of like this. So for some strange reason, he kidnaps her so she can draw the next part, because obviously she was done for plagiarism and stuff like that. And it's kind of made her stop kind of drawing and stuff, which I generally thought was kind of cool. Like, can you imagine if he goes like, I know you're Oni's sister, but I want you to draw this manga for me first. Obviously he doesn't, does he? So I was a bit kind of like, interesting. We do get some back and forth with the owner of this ramen restaurant, and obviously the successor of Blue. And yeah, it wasn't too bad. Basically, he wants the ramen sauce to make his own ramen shop, and the kind of gangster guy wants the kind of autograph from an old hero or an old film that we saw previously at the very beginning, which kind of like sets stone for what's going on. But again, like, they both argue. Blue turns around and puts them into kind of a state of imagination where they're in the desert and they're being like, the sun is shining down. Now, the guy who used to be on Donbrothers Blue turns around, turns into the monster and says, hey, I want to fight you because once I know what's your fighting spirit, I'll be able to do the exact same thing. And we get a fight with all the Donbrothers, and mainly goes, I don't care about any of you. I just want to go for Blue. That's all I'm going for. And we get a really decent fight. So rather than Blue saying, actually, I kind of don't want this, turns around and he actually really goes for the fight, and I was really impressed. We get the robot form, which again, we see it as in fighting normally, not even giant form. So seeing the Don Oni Taijin in kind of ranger form was something really cool, and I kind of want to see more of this. Wrapping this episode to a close, Blue finds a small kind of ramen like shack, stall, kiosk, whatever it is called, and then decides to actually get some of his famous soy noodles, which is basically imagination noodles, where because he has no money, he just imagines eating food and being full. And obviously it's the successor of Blue who is actually running the stall, which I generally thought was kind of a cool thing to see. And yeah, it kind of just ends there, so it's kind of come full circle. And I really enjoyed these 3 episodes. I keep hearing and wanting to keep listening to the sounds where they morph, because that's a thing for me now. But I generally really enjoyed all these episodes combined, because I feel like the story is going in a positive way. I'm not feeling bored. I'm enjoying this a lot more. So yeah, I really can't wait for the next episode. I think this is becoming one of my favorite Sentais because I generally am enjoying it. But there you go. There's it all kind of quick, all done in a nutshell. What are your thoughts on this? Are you liking Donbrothers? Let me know in chat as well as in those comments down below. My name's Mark. You can find me everywhere on kind of the internet as Heirloom, bar Twitter, where you can find me there as @MainstreamLive. If you want to come follow me on my channel, please do. I talk about Power Rangers and stuff, and Super Sentai at times, as well as other pop culture. Anyway, I am going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching this segment of the Henshin Hangout. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Bye!
Momotaro!